To you by Staples Stores. The news of the day: Padres have finally hired a manager. They announced they have hired former Padres pitcher Craig Stammen. They signed him to a 3-year deal. Other news of the Padres, to no one's surprise, they picked up Ramon Laureano's $6.5 million option for the 2026 season. And tonight we have NFL football on the station starting at 5:15. Raiders and Broncos. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and service to get your package there safely. Don't forget custom cards, invites, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Staples, that was easy.
All right, John and Jim with you. We'll take you up to some football coming up at 5:15 p.m. You heard about the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon. Again, to donate, you can call 619-WARRIOR or visit warriorfoundation.org/give-a-thon. We'll have guests today, Jim, as we also talk about the Padres managerial news, but obviously a significant day. We've done this for multiple years. We've got the Give-a-thon right now. We're asking our listeners for their support. 619-WARRIOR or warriorfoundation.org/give-a-thon.
Yeah, you can call 619-927-7467 to donate today to help send our Warriors home for the holidays.
So you actually sent the initial tweet. This is so Padres to me. Over the course of a day that has had some twists and turns and surprises, of course it did. It's AJ Preller. He goes to someone that was never expected or discussed to be the next manager. It's the longtime pitcher for the Padres, Craig Stammen. And it all started this way this morning. I'm sure a number of you are aware. But Jim sent me the tweet from Matt Jones, who is like an iconic radio host in the state of Kentucky for covering Kentucky Wildcat football and basketball and scooping it. He tweeted out, Jim, random person just texted me. And then in quotes, Craig Stammen is the new Padres manager. Matt Jones went on to say, so I'm going to break that even though I don't know who that is. And it was Matt Jones, Kentucky Sports Radio. He's heard statewide on dozens of stations, has 330,000 followers, does not cover the Padres. Matt Jones, of all people, breaks the news, has the scoop. Craig Stammen is the next manager of the Padres. He'll be introduced Monday morning at 10 a.m. Of course.
Of course, right?
Of course. I mean, we spent days talking about, hey, there's not a lot of reporting on this.
No.
It's Matt Jones that breaks the story.
Matt Jones, of all people. Matt Jones. What was your initial reaction when you saw Kevin Acee post that Craig Stammen is the new manager?
After this Matt Jones thing, I thought there was a chance it was going to be correct because again, this guy's made a living.
Mm-hmm. He got Lamont to Kentucky first.
Lamont Butler to Kentucky. Now Craig Stammen to the Padres, and he works in Kentucky. I mean, honestly, first blush, and I'm still kind of processing it, Jim, over the course of these 4 or 5 hours. I'm not going to come on the air and be like, this is a terrible decision. How could they make this choice? They were all going to be first-time managers. I think he's a likable figure. Look at what people have said about him that have played with him. He played with a lot of players on this team like Joe Musgrove and Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. There are questions that need to be answered, and he's going to have to answer them. This is very atypical and unique. It doesn't scream home run hire, but it also doesn't scream this is going to be a failure of a hire. So I'm willing to watch it play out, knowing that there are no guarantees here. We'll see what happens. My one thought, though, Jim, and I want to get your two cents on it, was, to me, it's a vote of confidence for AJ Preller. When he's able to hire someone that was working for him, that he had under contract for 6 years as a player, went into the front office, assisted AJ Preller the last couple of years, and now he's the hire. To me, that's a vote of confidence for AJ Preller from internal in the organization.
By the way, before I get to that, we have a crazy show today. Just a heads up, coming up here shortly, STFC's CEO Tom Penn's going to be joining us live in studio. Get you ready for Sunday's win or go home game 3 between STFC and the Portland Timbers.
I thought he was going to offer his thoughts on Craig Stammen.
No, he's not. So, look, am I surprised by this move? Yeah, I'm very surprised, but also I'm not surprised at all.
Right.
Like, AJ did the same exact thing when he hired Andy Green. He did the same exact thing when he hired Jace Tingler. He's now done the same exact thing when hiring Craig Stammen. The organization giving AJ Preller, like, here you go hire whoever you want. Are we surprised it's not a splashy name and it's a rando? Are we really surprised by it? Shouldn't be. The name Craig Stammen, we all know it. I think there's some pros, and I definitely think there's some cons.
I agree.
To him being the new manager. It's not splashy at all. I talked about it the other day. They went out and they hired Ryan Flaherty over like Albert Pujols. That's like choosing vanilla ice cream over Rocky Road. Like you choose the safest option possible instead of something that is exciting and kind of bold and something that, has a big hit rate or a big miss rate.
Mm-hmm.
What the Giants did hiring Tony Vitello, that is a boomer bust hire. Hiring Craig Stammen to me is as safe as you could get.
I agree. The reason some of me says, hey, John Seidler is saying, I like the direction of the organization. We've won 90 games back-to-back years. We've been in the postseason 3 of the last 4. But some of me also appreciates the boomer bust mentality of a Vitello hire with the Giants. Basically, the Giants are saying, we're going to explore all avenues in an effort to put our organization in a position to win at the highest of levels. If it doesn't work, we'll see what the other side looks like. The Padres aren't saying that. The Padres are saying our organization is pointed in the right direction. Trust us. We've won at enough of a level. Craig Stammen knows the inner workings of the organization. He does. He played in it. He's now been an assistant in the front office to it. So it's like the continuation of a messaging and vision where I don't think you're really changing philosophies. He's going to be a different manager. He's certainly not Mike Schild, and some of that is probably good, and maybe some of that isn't. But like part of me wishes that in an effort to get to the highest level and get to a World Series or win it, I would want you to pursue all avenues and consider something that's unconventional. They didn't necessarily do that. I'm not going to kill them on it because they've won. But is this going to be enough for them to win at that clip that we all seek?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. You'd feel it'd be the same thing if they hired Albert Pujols. There'd be more excitement around that. There'd be more like intrigue around that. There would be, I think, Craig Stammen's not, making the fan base excited. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it's just
not selling tickets.
No, he's not selling tickets. It is a blah move that could work out, but in the here and now, nobody knows if it is or not. What's more important is what this team does in free agency. I think the bigger news today.
I know what you're going to say. That's where I was going next.
The bigger news today is that they retain Ruben Niebla.
100%.
And that to me is way bigger news than hiring Craig Stammen as the freaking manager.
Maybe that's the win, because there was a world where we would have been all excited about Albert Pujols. And then, by the way, the second paragraph was, and Ruben Niebla has left for the New York Mets. I'm making it up.
Right.
So you would have had wholesale change, which, again, I could argue for. I can argue for wholesale change and be like, what you've done is good, but not good enough. Where I think what the Padres are arguing is what we've done is good, and trust us, we can keep being good. The more cracks, eventually we're going to break through.
I do think, though, this being as safe as it gets, there is a little worry with me of like, you hired from within. You hired a guy that was actually in on the interview process to begin with. And then they're like, hey, oh, by the way, do you want to like interview for this job, bro?
That is a little awkward.
And he's already on the payroll. He's not going to cost any money. It's the safest move out there that could easily fail. Like easily fail. And I don't know, man. I look at it as whatever.
Do you think they announce a Preller 2-year extension by Monday's press conference to coincide with it? It's very odd.
They have to.
Craig
They
Stammen
can't do that.
is under contract through 2028, and AJ Preller, as we sit here, is only signed for this year.
Yeah, they have to 100%. It would be insane if you get to Monday's presser and there's no contract extension announced, because then there will be a bunch of questions toward JJ about his future. And I know AJ probably doesn't want that.
But don't you agree that this is the Padres saying the Padres way is good?
The Padres way right now, John, is still not good enough.
But do you agree, though, that what they're displaying in this choice is like, trust us, we've been good. He's going to follow us down the path that we're already on.
There's some level of, hey, trust us there. But this is not like, hey, we've done this for a decade.
Right.
They've done this for 2 years. They did it for 2 years.
Yeah.
AJ's gone through a million managers.
You're right.
A million coaches, a million hitting coaches. I don't. I think that's a little bridge too far to be like, hey, everybody, trust us because we've won. And well, you've won for 3 of the last 4 years.
You're right.
That's not like a big sample size.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the right choice. I think what's happening here, correct me if I'm wrong, and we'll get Tom Penn in here in a second from SDFC. Correct me if I'm wrong. That don't you see it as like John Seidler's like, hey, AJ, we're going to lock you up. We haven't done it as of yet. Go find the right person for the job. And to literally hire someone that's working for AJ Preller, that to me is John Seidler saying, we want AJ Preller in charge of our organization, not just for the very short term, but for the medium term. They're going to lock him up. To me, it really is a vote of confidence for AJ Preller. I don't know if it's fully deserved or not. We've been praiseworthy of him the last 2 years.
What hire would not have been a vote of confidence?
I think
Pujols.
I think Pujols would have been interesting to determine who ultimately made that decision. I don't know if we would have known from day one that the Pujols decision was a Preller decision. Yeah. But obviously, this one is a Preller decision.
I do think, and we'll get Tom Penn in here in just a bit. I do think it's interesting of the people that interviewed for this job.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen to this list: Ruben Niebla, Brian Esposito, Mark Loretta.
Internal options.
Internal. Okay. Ryan Flaherty used to be here. All right. Craig Stammen here. The only guys that have no connection to the organization or haven't had a connection to the organization recently is Pujols, Hundley, and Brandon Hyde.
Brian, do you want to get Tom Penn and see if, or do you want me to break? I mean, I'm happy to do anything. I don't know about the timing for Tom
Just
Penn.
go get it.
Let's see if he wants to do. Ask Brian Wilson if they want us to take a break or not. We can have him in right now or in a moment. But again, it's
and AJ Ellis too, but he didn't have any interest in interviewing for the job.
All right, we'll take a time out. Tom Penn from SDFC will join us on the other side. Much more on this. In fact, Kevin Acee will join us at 4 p.m. Stay with us, Sean and Jim. Again, the Give-a-thon going on. The Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon will be joined by guests throughout the course of the afternoon. Also, of course, getting you ready for a busy weekend in San Diego sports, including SDFC playing a decisive Game 3 at Snapdragon Stadium. Their CEO, Tom Penn, back with us here in studio on the home of SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Tom, great to see you again. You got as big as they come coming up this Sunday night at 6 p.m.
Big game, big time, going to be big fun.
All right, so for our listeners right now, if you want to grab tickets, go to sandiegofc.com/playoffs. All right, sandiegofc.com/playoffs. Expecting a sellout. First 25,000 fans, if you're watching on YouTube, are getting a rally towel. All right, San Diego FC rally towel. What do you want our listeners to know about what's coming up this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium?
First, just an intense, proper football match, right? I mean, we're going to go head-to-head for the fourth time in a row because we finished the regular season against the Timbers. So there's proper animosity right now. So there's a level of intensity that you don't see in soccer that often because you don't do these series very often. This is a unique MLS thing, this best of three, trying to do it the American way a little bit. And it gets amplified because we finished by thumping them 4-0 in the regular season, celebrating on their home pitch. So that's how this whole drama started. We've played them 4 times this year, 2 wins, 2 draws, but we lost in penalties. Yeah. So we feel the sting of that loss. And now we come home and it's all about just executing, taking care of our game, playing our way because we believe we're the better team. But then we need to match that intensity. They fouled the hell out of us the last game. I mean, record numbers of fouls in the first half, them versus us. And we need to be ready for that and then just enjoy the moment.
What's the mood like inside, the organization, the club? Obviously, this is, a win or go home game here at Snapdragon Stadium. Are the nerves setting in a little bit as we get closer to Sunday, or how's the mood there?
I'd call it excitement.
Yeah.
In a way, I think we feel like we're playing a little bit with house money overall. I do, at least. We've had such a great year, but then we do feel this pressure and responsibility to achieve our limit. And we could win this whole thing. We could win MLS. We're that good. Mm-hmm. We've proven it over the season. We're one of the few teams that's really in it to win it. There's a uniqueness about soccer. The reason they don't normally do these winner-take-all tournaments, it's usually the whole regular season, right? Because of the vagaries of these one-off results. You can have one penalty. You could have one strange call. You could have one weird bounce of the ball, and you can just sock in defensively and try to, it's impossible to get a goal. So, but we're amped up, excited, optimistic, and there isn't nerves as much as excitement.
Tom Penn is the CEO of San Diego FC. He's with us right now in studio on John and Jim. Again, if you want tickets, expecting a huge crowd, another huge crowd at Snapdragon Stadium, go to sandiegofc.com/playoffs. Sunday night, 6 p.m. Again, sandiegofc.com/playoffs. I know you had high expectations heading into this franchise, but what we've seen at Snapdragon Stadium and beyond has been unbelievable. Some of the atmospheres all season long, including Game 1 of the postseason. What's your reaction? You've been on the ground for a long time in preparation for this year. What has it been like from your seat to watch the growth of the culture and the community around SDFC?
It's been super gratifying, rewarding. My heart is full personally because this is what we envisioned, was being a club for the whole community. The results have outpaced the expectation. We didn't expect to win the Western Conference regular season, be the number 1 seed, and effectively be in it to win it. So the results are faster. The processes and the things we've put together, Mikey Varas deserves so much credit. Tyler Heaps, so much credit. The players, so much credit for establishing out of nothing all of this excellence and this foundation for more excellence. We can get better. We will get better. And it should be a sustainable story of success in San Diego. And we're not even talking about the Right to Dream Academy and the youth development that's coming behind that for the long haul.
When you look at the field on the field here, the players, without the players doing what they've done this year, you aren't where you're at. One of those players, Anders Dreyer, named the MLS Newcomer of the Year. He's in the MVP discussion as well. What's it been like for you to see him, perform the way he's performed this year and really become, one of the faces not only of the franchise, but one of the better players in MLS.
I talked to him yesterday. I wanted him to know just how special this is. And everybody should know. These league-wide awards are few and far between. Mikey should be coach of the year.
Absolutely.
Anders would be MVP in most years, but there's this guy named Messi.
He's pretty good.
Who finished off pretty well.
Yeah.
And then Anders, the fact that he was even in that discussion, but then wins newcomer of the year, which is one of the major awards in MLS. There's 30 teams.
Yeah.
It's quite an accomplishment. He showed up night in, night out, day in, day out, consistently. Excellence, right? In both giving and receiving and finishing. 19 goals, 19 assists in the regular season. Clutch moments. The combination of him with Chucky when the pressure's really on, and now we see what's going to happen the rest of the way. Those two talents combined with the rest of our system, the rest of our players, but Anders had a special, special year that we should all celebrate.
Absolutely.
Tom Penn's the CEO of SDFC. So, Tom, for our listeners, again, you can grab tickets at sandiegofc.com/playoffs. How valuable is a venue like Snapdragon when it's rocking like it's been rocking this year? Like, what role can the fans play? Can the supporters play in a match like what's coming up Sunday night?
Look, it's one of the coolest venues in MLS. First of all, it's one of the biggest.
Yeah.
So if you take away the 3 NFL stadiums, we're the biggest soccer-specific stadium, if you want to call it that, in the country. 32,500 strong. Then you layer into it these traditions that have developed and the way our supporters in the end zone sing the entire match. At game 1, I saw it on our countdown clock. We had it up on the TV. 15 minutes before our show started, not even kickoff, they started singing. And they didn't stop until after the players left the pitch after the victory. So that is in and of itself special. And then these traditions that are developing where the rest of the audience is joining, and we're giving away these rally towels to the first 25,000. That just creates the spectacle that you would see at an NBA playoff game. The Padres will do it, that kind of thing. But I always wondered what our playoff intensity was going to feel like, because I've been to Petco and I felt it for the Padres, and I'm like, damn, this is good.
Yeah.
It's really, really good at ours, and it's still developing. That's the beauty of when we win Sunday and advance, we're home again. How is this going to feel at the end of this run? And then what does it do as we're establishing what San Diego football intense playoff atmosphere is like?
So if you're not able to go to the match on Sunday, if you're not fortunate enough, how can fans watch? And of course, you can obviously tune in here on San Diego Sports 760.
Yeah, television-wise, it's Apple TV, and it's free.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just get on Apple TV, you're going to be able to see the games, the rest of the playoffs there. Occasionally, there'll be some matches on Fox that are simulcast, but for Sunday night, it's on Apple TV.
And the cool part is, too, if you're watching on Apple TV, you can simulcast our broadcast here on San Diego Sports 760.
Get a proper local call.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, I love that feature from MLS on Apple TV Plus.
Super cool. And again, for our listeners, get there Sunday night, win or go home for SDFC. Tickets at sandiegofc.com/playoffs. Rally towels for the first 25,000 fans. Be a part of the home field energy at Snapdragon Stadium. Tom, it's always our pleasure. Great to see you.
Great to see you guys. Let's go.
And we're going to see you hopefully again in a couple of weeks when the Western Conference semifinals are played here at Snapdragon Stadium. We'll take a timeout. We're talking Aztec hoops. We're talking about the Padres managerial search. Tay Simmons, freshman phenom for San Diego State, who starred in that win over Long Beach State, will join us on the other side. This is John and Jim. All right, hey guys, it is John and Jim again for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. It's now open, the hotel and spa over at Jamul Casino Resort. It's the next level of luxury. You can treat yourself to a stunning new stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, and all the thrills of Jamul Casino Resort, now all in one unforgettable destination.
Yeah, and savor San Diego's ultimate endless dining experience at Jamul 23, from our world-famous lobster brunch served every morning to the luxurious VIP endless dining experience each evening. Indulge in chef-curated specialties, fresh seafood, prime cuts, and decadent desserts, all with stunning panoramic views.
And again, this spa, you have to get there. Unwind in style, experience pure relaxation, indulgent treatments, serene spaces, and a retreat designed to refresh your body and mind, only at Jamul Casino Resort. You can learn more. You can book a treatment right now at jamulcasino.com/spa at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. In a stunner, the Padres today announced they have hired former Padres pitcher Craig Stammen to be their next manager, signing him to a 3-year deal. Other news with the Padres, to no one's surprise, they picked up Ramon Laureano's $6.5 million club option for the 2026 season. And tonight we have NFL Thursday Night Football right here on the station, starting at 5:15 as the Raiders take on the Broncos. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services to get your packages there safely. Don't forget custom cards, invites, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Staples, that was easy.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 will tell you more about the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Giveathon throughout the course of today's broadcast. But again, you can donate by calling 619-WARRIOR or at warriorfoundation.org/giveathon. There's a lot of topics to cover today. Of course, the Padres managerial search, but also San Diego State men's basketball getting off on the right foot once again, winning the opener over Long Beach State at Viejas Arena. One of the big stories coming out of that game, the play of the freshmen, including Tay Simmons, who's with us right now live on John and Jim on the home of the Aztecs. Tay, we appreciate you taking time for us. Did it live up to your expectations? An opening night win. You get in double figures. You had 7 or 8 rebounds in that game. What was it like to get on the floor officially at Viejas Arena?
Yep. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for having me today.
Of course.
Such an honor to be on the show. But man, I cannot tell you how much that game meant to me. Like, man, it was awesome, because it's like, yeah, those preseason games were really cool, and like the crowd definitely showed up. But man, this was a whole different level. And just being out there, having the coaches trust me and LG to be able to be out there was just honestly such an honor. Like, I remember back like when I was in high school watching everybody play and just like seeing the crowd and be like, man, like that's going to be me someday. And sure enough, it was. And it was just so fun to be out there with my guys, my brothers, and just be able to play like that. And obviously get the W. by a very solid amount. So that was it was everything, man. I was so happy.
How would you assess your night on the court? 10 points off the bench, had a nice alley-oop dunk there from LZ. How would you assess your opening game here in an Aztec uniform?
Yeah, I mean, in all humbleness, I think I played well, but obviously, I think that's a credit to my teammates. Finding me when I'm open, and just I think it's a credit to how hard we work, and I think also it's just, man, I just feel like I just go out there and I play hard. So my mentality is mostly just like, man, even if I go out here and get 0 points, let me just get every rebound that I can. So I was more focused on trying to get as many rebounds as I could compared to points. Like, obviously, points is nice and everything like that, but man, we got so many guys that can score. So I know my role on this team right now is to get rebounds and like not to sell myself short. Like, I know I can go out and score, but man, I was like, man, I got to get every rebound out there. And so I just kind of had like a different kind of energy, and man, that adrenaline hit me when I got out there, and I was like, man, let's do this. So I think I played well. I'm just really excited and just happy to be here, man. And I just felt like when you just play hard, like the coaches always say, ball finds energy. So my mindset is just have that energy, and then I'll find the hoop eventually. I'll find the, ways to score. So yeah.
Freshman forward Tay Simmons with us on John and Jim. Did you hear the note or see the note that you and LZ were the first freshmen in an Aztec debut to score 10 or more points since Jeremy Hemsley back in 2015? Is it kind of cool to know that what you were able to do is somewhat unique, right? It can be hard to get on the floor at a place like San Diego State, especially on a veteran team. It must feel good to have such an impact so quickly.
For sure. I mean, I actually had no idea that happened until like one of my friends sent me the stat and sent me the little graphic of it. And I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. But I think it's really just a testament to how hard me and LZ work. Like, I mean, the fact that it hasn't been done in 10 years, not to say the other freshmen that have been here before weren't good enough, but just to say that, like, me and LZ, man, like, we're really about this. Like, this is really what we do. And so we were just going to the game. Let's just play hard. And again, like, ball finds energy and good things is going to happen. So it's definitely an honor to be able to have that after 10 years. So it's just something super cool. Definitely not something I thought would happen to me when I first got here, but man, it's a blessing for sure. So all glory to God.
So, we look at the depth of this team. We talked about this a lot here on our show. I'm sure, you guys see it on the court, how much depth you guys have. That mindset that you have here where it's like, hey, look, I might play X amount of minutes one night and X amount of minutes the other night, making sure that your role is to do whatever is best for the team. Well, where does that come from for you?
Honestly, I just think it's just my nature. In all honesty, I feel like I'm a pretty unselfish person. So it's just like, I think I'm pretty understanding of what my situation is. So obviously in high school, my responsibility was more getting as many points as I could and rebounds, because that was my role in high school. And like moving up to this level where, man, we got an extremely deep team where everybody at any given night can go off for 15, 20 points. So I just realized where I'm at right now. And again, not to sell myself short, because I know I'm able to go out there and score. But like I said, like, the mentality is just, man, like, what is going to get me on the court? I just got to keep doing that. And it's really not like a burden for me, as in like the coach is like, hey, you got to go rebound. I'm like, oh, dang it. Like, I got to go rebound. Like, I love rebounding. I love the energy of it. So it's like the fact that that's my job and that's what I got to do. It's like, it's just fun for me to be able to go out there and do that. So knowing where I'm at, and I have no problem being out there because I know that time is going to come for me next year in 2-3 years. So that's not something I'm worried about for sure.
Freshman forward Tay Simmons with us on John and Jim. Tay, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it out of a timeout or some type of stoppage that we saw the alley-oop come out of there when LZ found you? What was that? I mean, you executed it perfectly, obviously. What was that experience like being part of that play on night one?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny that you say that because that's exactly what happened. It was off the timeout. I looked at LZ and I was like, dude, it's going to be open. Mm-hmm. And LZ trusted me. He was like, you think it's going to be open? I'm like, bro, like it's going to be open. Because we had ran that play at least 2 or 3 times and that lob just wasn't there. But I told him, I was like, LZ, it's going to be open. He's like, you know what, bro, I got you. I trust you. And sure enough, pass, we a great screen from Pharaoh, and then bam, it was right there. So I just think that was that freshman to freshman connection. And LZ's like, my best friend. That's my brother on the team. We hang out all the time. So we just have that kind of connection where he trusts me and I trust him to get that pass up there. And he trusts me to finish it. So just an overall great play.
What's the biggest thing that drew you to San Diego State?
Easily the energy and just the family aspect of the team. Like, man, like the coaches just show so much love, not just to me, my immediate family, but all my cousins. Like all the coaches on our coaching staff know me, they know my brother, they know my parents, they know my cousins, they know my grandparents. Like it just extends so far. Like they're a family outside of basketball. And that's something that Coach Dutch drives home all the time, is that his job is to help us succeed outside of basketball. He says that if all I've done is be a coach on the court, then I failed you. And so I just think that was just something that I don't feel like you can really get at very other many programs, because I think other programs will say that, but then when it really comes down to it, they're not really about it. But here, man, it's just, that's what we're really about. And honestly, that energy, experiencing it firsthand on the court was completely different. But man, just like being there with all the fans, just showing so much support. Like if it's on the court, off the court, like people seeing me in public, like it's just been like a blessing. And honestly, that's exactly what drew me here. And obviously outside of the, us being really, really good at basketball,
right.
But I think you can find any program that's quote unquote good at basketball, but they don't have all the other things going to push you like further and grow you as a man. And I think that I'm growing as a basketball player here and also as a man. So for sure, that's what it is.
It's interesting you say that, Tay. I think a lot of people don't fully understand what goes into this. Like you guys have Idaho State coming up on Sunday. You're fully into the season. There's classwork, there's practice, but then I see out in the community with Mesa Foundation and part of this project with Feeding San Diego, where you're helping out in the community on an off day, and there's so few of them. What was that experience like yesterday with Feeding San Diego, getting out in the community?
That was honestly amazing. I'm so happy that we did that. And I think a lot of people will be like, oh, we have an off day, like let's just go chill, like we don't want to do anything. But the guys and the team, we were just so willing to go out and help whoever we can. I'm not like, political. I don't really know what's going on, but I do know obviously the government shutdown has happened, and I know that that's left a lot of people struggling. And so the fact that we were able to make a real impact with what we were doing out there, and just like, it was so awesome just to see the people's face lit up when we were being able to, give out food. I think people can take so much for granted. And so I think Coach JD has done a great job of just showing us that, like, dude, like people look up to us and people strive to be like us, and us being there with them and like truly from our hearts, just like giving to people, just shows them that, man, they can do anything that they like put their minds to. And so the fact that we were able to do that just warms my heart. And I love that that's just something that SJC cares about. So being there for the community, because like at the end of the day, the community has our back, so we have to have their back. So that's the way I see it.
Amazing insight from a freshman forward for the Aztecs, Tay Simmons. All right, Tay, we're going to do something. We didn't mention this to you, but we're going to give away 2 tickets right now on air for Sunday's game to a listener. Now, I'm going to ask you to choose the number of the caller.
Like 1 through
10, but I think I know where you might go. 1 through 10, where are you going to go with your number for a caller to win 2 free tickets for Sunday?
I think you guys might have read my mind, but we got to go number 8.
There you go.
There we go.
You're on court number, right? Your jersey number.
Number 8.
All right. Yeah.
Caller 8 to 877-767-4760 right now is going to see the Aztecs Sunday afternoon at Viejas Arena at 2 p.m. Tickets, limited tickets available at goaztecs.com. Tay, our pleasure to have you on. Congratulations on a great start, and we look forward to seeing you this weekend back at Viejas Arena, all right?
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Awesome stuff. With the young freshman for the Aztecs, he didn't look like it.
Doesn't sound like it.
Doesn't sound like it. He's an impressive young man.
Him and
LC
LC Harrington, I'm like, are you guys sure you're not 3-year starters in college?
Right.
Like they very polished on and off the court. Very, very, very impressive.
Brent, why don't you, Brent's going to pick caller number 8 right now. Why don't we keep it here for a couple of minutes because we'll have our Warrior Foundation guest joining us at 3:50, or do you want us to break right here? All right, we'll take a time out. We're going to go out to the Warrior Foundation Give-a-thon that's going on right now. On the other side, we'll tell you more about that. Of course, we've got you covered on this Padres managerial hire. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, don't go anywhere. He's joining us at 4 p.m. live. So Kevin Acee, who's covered the entirety of Craig Stammen's time in San Diego, will join us coming up at 4 p.m. Also on the other side, we'll go out to the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon going on right now. Stay with us. Tons to get to on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 will be joined by a guest from the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon coming up in just a few moments. A U.S. Army veteran, in fact, will join us, who is an above-the-knee amputee. I think we've had him on before. Joining us, Anthony Pone will join us coming up in a handful of minutes. We'll tell you more about this Give-a-thon. Again, you can donate by calling 619-WARRIOR or visiting warriorfoundation.org/give-a-thon. Become a monthly champion for $19 a month, or make a one-time donation of $99. You'll get a pair of tickets from Warrior Foundation to SeaWorld San Diego. And let's bring our heroes, Warriors, home for the holidays here in 2025. So, Jim, we'll get to that coming up in a moment. We've been all over the place here this first hour of John and Jim. And, of course, that includes the Padres managerial search, which is over. It is Craig Stammen. He'll be introduced on Monday to the media. And Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, who has covered Craig Stammen's career in San Diego, will join us coming up in about 15 minutes.
I'm still processing.
I agree.
Like I the news this morning, I'm like, what? Excuse me?
What? What'd you say?
Now, it wasn't as shocking as maybe I thought my reaction was going to be, because of the report from the Kentucky sports radio host early this morning.
Otherwise, it would have been completely out of.
If that never came out, then I would have jaw on the floor.
How much time would you say between the Kentucky sports radio tweet? I don't know what time that was posted.
A couple hours.
So there was a couple hours. I wasn't sure if it was 10 minutes or 2 hours.
My guess is, and it's just a hypothetical.
Saw that, called Craig Stammen.
Because their press conference isn't until Monday.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that. Friday press conferences aren't ideal, maybe, but yeah, Monday press conference.
So.
Oh, but it's interesting because the GM meetings are underway in Las Vegas on Monday.
They are, which, okay.
Aren't they?
They are.
Okay.
But yeah, it wasn't as oh my God. I almost looked at it and I was just like, okay. Still very surprised though. Still very surprised, but I still haven't fully processed.
What about the idea that it's surprising, but when you look at it through the lens of AJ Preller, is it surprising?
No.
Because Preller always has that card up his sleeve.
What kind of card is this? Is this a 4 diamonds or?
Great point.
A king.
I mean, the interesting part, you touched on this briefly earlier because you've only had so much time. In the reporting from Dennis Lin, for example, at The Athletic, it's like Craig Stammen went from part of the interviewing process, helping the Padres interview candidates, to becoming a candidate.
Me? You want me to be the manager?
Did it play out that way? Or was it hey, and talking to these guys, hey, AJ, I would like to throw my hat in the ring. I can do what these guys are talking about.
I personally would like someone that really wants to be a manager. Do we know? Obviously accepted the job.
Right.
And he signed a 3-year contract, but going into the process.
Yeah, who went to whom?
Exactly. I want to know, was it AJ that went to Craig, or is it Craig that went to AJ? Craig
I
was
hope it's the latter.
I do too. Because if it was AJ that went to Craig, that concerns me a little bit, because that doesn't show me that Craig really, really wanted to be a manager when he has literally 0 coaching experience under his belt. 0.
By the way, remember this. Craig Stammen, who is 41. Think about this right now, folks. Craig Stammen will not be managing this club when he's 45, in all likelihood. The odds of a manager for the San Diego Padres being here beyond 3 or 4 seasons are incredibly low.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a long period of time.
100%.
So, it's kind of from a Craig Stammen perspective, he's 41 years of age. And I think some people are well, maybe this is the stability you're looking for. You can never look at it through that lens. What is stable with the Padres? And managers are now, there's so much turnover. But from a Padres perspective, I'm just assuming, listen, if it goes well, Jim, it's 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't go well, it's 1.5 years.
It's not anywhere near a splashy hire. It's nowhere near a hire that's going to make the fan base excited. It's nowhere, it wasn't on anybody's radar heading into today when it was announced.
Did anyone say the name in the weeks lead up to this hire?
That was being serious.
In any capacity. If we went to social media and searched his name prior to today, did anyone link him?
From actual reporting?
Yeah.
No. Come on, guys. What are we doing here? We got a guy in Kentucky that scoops the story.
I would love to have. I would love to have Matt Jones on the show. Seriously,
We DM the guy.
you have a check mark. You probably can. I would.
He like responded to me.
I mean, I would love to have him on the show. All right,
See.
we're going to get back to it. And Kevin Ace, your Padres insider, do not go anywhere. Will join us in 10 minutes. We'll talk about the Padres choosing Craig Stammen as their next manager. But we've been telling you all day long about the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon here in 2025. Get our heroes home for the holidays. You can donate by calling 619-WARRIOR or visiting warriorfoundation.org/give-a-thon. Anthony Pone is with us, a U.S. Army veteran, current resident of the Freedom Station. And we've had Anthony with us before over the years here on San Diego Sports 760. Anthony, appreciate you joining us today from the Freedom Station. And for our listeners that haven't heard your story or don't know a lot about the Freedom Station, what can you tell us about this give-a-thon and the impact the Freedom Station has had on your life? And thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks a lot. I appreciate you for having me. But it's like world changing. Like it changed my whole world. Coming to the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station. I tell everybody that it wasn't that I found them; they found me. They found me at a time where I needed more direction, and I needed to specify exactly what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do in life. I started out with finding my journey with basketball, and then I played for the San Diego Wolfpack team, and after that, I understood the mission of what the whole Warrior Foundation Freedom Station was about, and they not only gave me a place to excel in my sport endeavors, but it gave me a chance to level up in life. Whereas though right now I'm studying for my master's degree in sports psychology, which I'll be graduating really soon. I have one more thing to do, and that is to do my final exam, my final oral exam, and then after that I'll have my master's degree. Right now I'm competing with the Warrior, with the Wolfpack military team, which is good for me, and I'm also competing shot put and discus at the Paralympic level, where I'm now the reigning national champion for shot put and discus.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. And for our listeners that don't know about the Wolfpack, well, what is that? It's a wheelchair basketball league, but for you to tell our listeners what specifically goes into that, and how did you get involved with that organization?
So let's talk about the Wolfpack. The Wolfpack team is made up of players that were ill and injured from coming back, and they're reconditioning back in the society, and they started the team, and it's players like me and that they brought along, and it's a type of fellowship, and we depend on each other. We tour together, we compete together, and through that we just found our purpose.
Anthony Pone with us right now from the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon. Anthony, with the Give-a-thon going on, can you tell our listeners how important or how impactful a donation would be today? Again, you can call 619-WARRIOR for our listeners. You can go to warriorfoundation.org/give-a-thon. How impactful is this for the Freedom Station and people like yourself?
The Freedom Station gave us a chance where it's though a service member that's getting out of the military, and they wear the uniform for so long that they become that uniform. But then when that time is over, it's like, what do you do? And that's when the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station steps in, and they teach you how to use the skills that you already have so they can translate into like society, and how you want to recondition back into society is very important, and you do have the skills within yourself, but the Warrior Foundation helps you find those skills, and it's not really, their motto is not a handout, it's a hand up. So therefore they make you aware of all the skills that you have in order for you to succeed.
Anthony, thank you for sharing the story. Thank you for your service to our country, and thank you to our listeners for contributing and helping us out during this Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon. Again, you can call 619-WARRIOR to donate. You can visit warriorfoundation.org/giveathon as well. Anthony, thank you. Happy holidays, and hope continue to be well, and thank you for taking time for us.
Oh, man, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot.
All right, Anthony Pone, again, joining us from the Giveathon. We'll have more guests throughout the course of the afternoon on John and Jim. We're going to get back to the Padres coming up with Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, on the hiring of Craig Stammen as the next Padres manager. This is John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with the stunning news of the day. Padres officially announced they've hired Craig Stammen as their next manager, signing him to a 3-year deal. Other news of the Padres, to no one's surprise, they picked up Ramon Laureano's $6.5 million club option for the 2026 season. And tonight we have NFL football, Thursday night football on our station starting at 5:15 as the Raiders take on the Broncos. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services to get your packages there safely. Don't forget custom cards, invites, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Staples. That was easy.
All right, so our give-a-thon continues. John and Jim continues. And, of course, the big sports story of the day, what's played out with the Padres naming their next manager. They'll officially name Craig Stammen as manager on Monday. They've announced he will be their next manager with this 3-year deal, and it's always great to connect with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee, back with us right now on John and Jim. Kevin, in your reporting, and first of all, hope you're well, and thank you for doing it. In your reporting, have you found out how this kind of came to be, so to speak? How Craig Stammen maybe went from the outside and then became a focal point of their search?
Yeah, like they had this wide net, and among the several dozen, let's call it 45 or more guys that were on their original list, Craig Stammen was one of them, just like Ryan Flaherty was one of them. And you're talking about an AJ Ellis, but you're talking about guys with young kids, right? And devoted family men. And in the case of AJ and Craig, that's why they have not been coaches or really AJ was a manager candidate last year, but and so Flaherty and AJ and Craig were like, no, you know what? Not really. No, not going to be a candidate. And then after Craig was a part of some of the Zoom interviews with some of the candidates and had a week and maybe was able to talk to his wife and kind of see whether this was something that he wanted to do. He told the Padres, I want to be a candidate. And at that point, like, my educated speculation is that kind of became a favorite, and none of us knew it at the time. We knew there was this mystery candidate, but none of us knew it at the time. But like, they know Craig and they love Craig, and they were a little surprised by the fact that he was making himself a candidate, and so he became one of the 4 finalists. And I don't want to say like blew him away, but because they knew who he was. But like, there are people that came out of his in-person meeting that knew him and were even like more impressed and were like, wow, this guy's ready to be a manager. That was their opinion. And he's the guy they decided on.
What's the reaction that you've gotten from inside that organization that didn't really have a big part in hiring Craig Stammen, along with players and maybe coaches? What's the reaction to this news today?
He is well liked. He is loved there, and some of the core players love him, and I've known that for a long time. And I would always play Craig up as a leader, and I get why people were dubious about that. Because he's a relief pitcher, and I will say this: I've never known a relief pitcher to have the role that Craig Stammen had in the clubhouse. I mean, he holds sway with Manny and Tatis. He holds sway with Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish. And obviously with other pitchers, Jay Cronenworth, reveres is maybe not strong enough a word. I mean, Craig is just one of those guys that is a man of extremely high character. And so people, the reaction that I love is because I got it from, 6-8 people, was the same as my reaction when I found out, which was shock and then instantly, okay, this makes sense. Now, I want you to interpret that for me. We all got to have questions about this first-time manager who, was a pitcher. Those are all legitimate. I am not saying Craig Stammen's. I'm not he's sitting here guaranteeing you that Craig Stammen's taking them to the playoffs of the World Series. I'm just saying that he has the qualities. There is zero doubt he has the qualities of a manager, and that has been the reaction from people in the organization and elsewhere.
It's interesting you say Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He's back with us because you've covered baseball for a long time. I worked in minor league baseball. When you think about some of your interactions over the years with Craig Stammen, because baseball players all kind of have similar personas, or some do. There's just lots of baseball players, and they're all comparable. What was it about your time covering him that made him kind of stand out among other players you've covered throughout the course of the years?
Well, there are a couple things, and maybe I need to get Craig's permission to really talk about these, because I'm not going to go out of school. That's kind of how I built my trust. But I will tell you that we've worked through a couple things, and he's helped me, with a couple things. And so without giving details, just let me tell you that he's a man of principle and a man of his words. And he has called me out on stuff and been upset at me about stuff. And we've worked through it like men. And I hate to sound like an old dude who's going to be 55 next week, but that's rarer and rarer among today's athlete, and I'm assuming among many young people. It's just not a trait. Let's just get on Twitter and kill people. But he's a man. He's a human being. I keep using the word integrity, and that's what stands out to his teammates. He was a reliever, right? Who I know is, even though, the guy did have a 3.33 ER or a 3-something ERA and 333 appearances, and had at one point from 2017 to 21 had more high leverage appearances than any pitcher in the game. It was actually pretty good. But yeah, you know what? He had some terrible outings as well. And you know what? Unlike some guys today, Craig Stammen was always there. And whether it was 3 shutout innings or it was 4 home runs in a row, which yes, did happen once, he would talk to you and give you the details for as long as you needed. And I've said this before on here, that I don't really think how you treat the media matters unless it says something about who you are as an individual. And the way that Craig Stammen treated the media as a conduit to the fans did say something about him. So there's just a lot, and like I said, those players that respect him, his managers who loved him. You could say that in 2017, he was coming off a 2016 season in which he spent in the minors, coming back from flexor tendon surgery. Didn't know if his career was over. Minor league deal with the Padres. Pitched well, made the team. But a part of the reason he made the team is they were so incredibly young. They needed Craig Stammen's experience in the clubhouse. Then in 2021, he's getting a little older. He'd been good, but their bullpen was good. Okay, yeah, we can use Craig Stammen. They gave him $4 million a year, $4.5 million a year. Yeah, he's good, but we need Craig Stammen's leadership in the clubhouse. So there was twice that he basically was with the team because they said, we need him. And remember, when they brought him back in 21, that was a good team. It wasn't oh, it's this young team where we just need this old guy. He had proved himself as a leader all over the clubhouse, and they wanted him to be on a good team. And so those things speak to me as well.
Obviously, the headliner today, Craig Stammen, new Padres manager. I think it's equally or maybe even more important that they retained and bringing back Ruben Niebla. He was obviously, under consideration to be the next manager of that team, of the team. Two-part question: how close was that to be a possibility to him be the next manager? And then once he did not become the next manager, how did that process go down where they were able to retain him and bring him back as the pitching coach?
We always have to be careful when we're dissecting the end of these, right? Because it'd be really easy for I'm not saying they do this, but maybe some people do. It'd be really easy for the organization to tell the 3 runners up that they were all so great and they almost got the job and all that, right? So let's be careful. But everyone said Ruben did a great job, and that he may have been the number 2 guy. Now, of course, I've also heard Pujols was the number 2 guy. So anyway, but Ruben is, we can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, one of Preller's guys, highly respected around the league and certainly in the clubhouse and in the organization. There's 2 things. In some senses, Ruben has 2 years left on his contract, so he's got to come back. On the other hand, the Padres would allow him if he wanted to go, if someone else, one of the new managers or a team that still has to hire a manager and wanted him as a pitching coach, the Padres would let him interview. I would imagine that seems to be the indication, but there is zero doubt that they want him back. And when I say they, like virtually everybody in the organization from Preller on down. And so I expect him to be back. Without speaking too far out of school, like the indications from Ruben, I think are non-committal at this point, but it's always been his intention to remain with the Padres. And obviously he wanted it to be as the manager. So be a lot of upset people in the organization, in the clubhouse, if he's not back.
Kevin Ace, your Padres insider, with us right now on John and Jim. It appears to me from the outside, Kevin, that this would be an organizational vote of confidence for AJ Preller, as Craig Stammen has worked for Preller, and now Preller has hired a manager. Now the manager gets a 3-year deal. As we know right now, Preller is signed through 2026. Do you see it? I don't know if formality is the right word, but is it almost assumed at this point that we're going to receive word of an AJ Preller extension sooner rather than later?
I felt like it was a formality, and I think I presented it that way for a couple months. So now, to your point, I would feel more confident in that now. Yes, I mean, Eric Gubner was highly involved in this for sure. John Seiler was involved in this. There were others, but Craig Stammen would suggest that this was an AJ Preller production. Again, man, this isn't hiring Jace Tingler, who, by the way, didn't play in the major leagues for 12 years or even one game. And they did think they were good then, right? But still, this is a team they absolutely expect to contend for a championship next year. And they just handed the reins to Craig Stammen. This is a huge decision. So, as it seems that we've talked about virtually every year for the last 5 years, AJ Preller has staked his future to the new manager.
Yeah, he absolutely has. Kevin, how would you see the rest of this coaching staff shaping out? They need a new hitting coach. Victor Rodriguez is going to Houston. That's already been confirmed. I'm sure that they're going to be looking for a bench coach for Craig Stammen. We've had this conversation in the past about how much, sway does the manager have in hiring his own staff? Is that going to be a situation like in the past where AJ is heavily involved in that, or will Craig be able to hire his own staff? How's that situation going to go? And who do you think could be a part of the staff in the future?
My understanding is Craig does have some ideas. And he's receiving counsel from people too. Yes, AJ has huge sway in it. And AJ might argue with that and say that he doesn't, but, we're probably getting into semantics there. When AJ, when your boss suggests people and those people do have good credentials and your boss makes a good argument for it, you're going to go with him. So AJ has a lot of sway. And so you're going to need a hitting coach. You're going to need a third base coach. You may need a bench coach. I'm not going to rule out Brian Esposito, man. There is thought by including some in the organization and definitely other people I've talked to that as a first-time manager that he needs to get a man in the bench coach role who has sat in his chair, who has been a manager. There's a lot that goes on, and that no matter how great Craig Stammen might be as a baseball mind, all that. And by the way, a lot of people believe the hardest thing to do is manage your bullpen. And if you've got Ruben Niebla, Ben Fritz, and a former reliever as the manager, I think they're going to be in good shape there. But you need a guy who understands the offensive side, all that. So, but I got to tell you, that's one thing where Preller, that's not hugely important to him, man. Right or wrong, I could argue with him all day on that. But the strategy stuff, it's just not all that important to Preller that the manager be this. He appreciated that about Mike Schilt. That's probably that's probably the best manager he's had. But I would maybe make an argument for Andy Green. But he didn't think that was the end all. He likes it to be group think. And he has a lot of belief in Esposito, in Stammen, in Niebla, and that and an Esposito. So like it could still be Brian Esposito.
I have one last question, which is just like in generalities, like the familiarity with an organization obviously was a positive for Craig Stammen.
Yeah.
Is there any thought like maybe sometimes you're too close? It's like if me and Jim work together all these years and all of a sudden I become Jim's boss, the relationship and the dynamic changes between me and Jim. When you've been a peer and now all of a sudden you're a manager or coach, like that dynamic all of a sudden has to change. I mean, is that only a positive or could that be a negative potentially as well?
It could be. And this is something that I think is, I mean, a very legitimate question. And I do. I want to say that I'm aware of times that Craig Stammen has spoken his mind as a player, as a reliever, for goodness sake. Barely a player. I'm joking, but you know the point I'm making. And as a totally inexperienced special assistant, he has spoken up and probably loves that. And so I say that in answer to your question that I also have, when he was a reliever, that he stood up to other players. Like, and not that there was like a confrontation, but that like things that happen in the clubhouse, things that need to be said, people that need to be stood up for, whatever it is. Like Craig has had the difficult conversations, and like he is the kind of guy, I'm telling you, the integrity, the character. And I want to make it clear here, so I'm not coming across as some sort of cheerleader. I don't know what kind of manager he's going to be, but when you want to talk about, there are maybe a handful of guys I've ever covered that I would bet you everything I have on their character and their integrity, and Craig Stammen is one of them. And when I say handful, I just mean that like 4 or 5 guys that he has that. And a part of integrity is being able to say to a friend, right, a former teammate, a guy and that maybe that guy saw you as a peer more than a superior now, like you are going to stand your ground. Craig Stammen has that ability. I can't stress that enough. And the reason I'm stressing it so much is your question is absolutely legit. I'm just saying Craig Stammen can handle it.
Kevin, we appreciate the reporting, your perspective, taking time to join us. We're looking forward to hearing from Craig Stammen and the organization on Monday as well. But thanks for taking time for us. Hope all is well this offseason and look forward to doing it again soon.
Right on, guys. See you.
All right, great stuff from Kevin AC. We react on the other side. Plus, Chris Hodge, free picks for our listeners coming up at 4:30 on John and Jim. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again. There is no better time than right now to get down to your local Toyota dealer. They do have new vehicles arriving each and every day. We're talking about their most popular cars and trucks and SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, you can hurry into your Toyota dealer today. They've got great deals going on right now on new Toyota trucks. We're talking about the largest inventory of Tacomas and Tundras ready to roll. The Tacoma is known for its legendary toughness, off-road capability, and everyday efficiency, perfect for weekend adventures or just tackling your to-do list. And the Tundra brings serious power, impressive towing capacity, and bold design, plus the latest tech and comfort features. Whether you need a truck that's built for the trails, built for work, or built for your family's next adventure, Toyota's got you covered right now. Again, new vehicles arriving daily. Cars, trucks, and SUVs. We make it easy. See your Toyota dealer today. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Chris Hodge taking Vegas has free picks for us coming up. It is Thursday night. We have Thursday night football, in fact, on San Diego Sports 760 with coverage beginning at 5:15. Plus, we have you covered here on our Give-a-thon going on right now. The Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon. Get our heroes home for the holidays. Make a donation. Call 619-WARRIOR or visit warriorfoundation.org/give-a-thon. You just made a really funny point. Wasn't on air, but about like, imagine being the Padres and being like, having to call Albert Pujols and be like, you didn't get the job. Albert Pujols wanted the job.
Yeah.
He didn't get it. Someone told him that he didn't get the job.
Hey, Albert, we know like you're one of the greatest players to ever play the game. We're actually going to go with this reliever as our manager.
Middle reliever,
not a closer.
right?
Not one of the best closers of all time.
It's like he's fine.
We're going with like a 13-year, not really journeyman because he only played for a couple organizations, but
Just a veteran,
just like some random guy.
right?
What?
Imagine that call.
Oh,
Imagine having to make it.
but also I don't think they were like, hey, Albert, you're not getting the job because we're hiring Craig Stammen.
Yeah, they probably didn't say that.
They're probably saying, hey, man, we're going to go in a different direction. Thank you, blah, 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 blah. And then today, when Albert Pujols sees who they actually hired, what do you think his reaction was?
I mean, he might have been like, who?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how ridiculous is this, Jim? The person that actually broke the news doesn't know who Craig Stammen is.
correct.
Matt Brown, Kentucky Sports Radio. It makes no sense to us either. Broke the news on social media this morning and in his tweet said, I don't know who he is, but I'm just telling you, I've been told Craig Stammen is the next manager of the Padres. That's ridiculous.
It's funny because I just type in Craig Stammen into Google and every single one of these is like Padres shockingly named former player as manager and pass on Albert Pujols. Padres make shocking managerial hire. Fans react to Padres shocking Craig Stammen hire. San Diego Padres named Craig Stammen as manager and a shocking hire.
Right.
It's like, again, do I understand it? Yes, I absolutely understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Could it work? Absolutely. Could it fail? Absolutely. Is it shocking? Yeah, it's shocking. But it makes sense if you know this organization. If you've covered this organization as long as we have, there's a shock factor to this that I felt this morning, but there also really wasn't. Because I've covered AJ Preller for his entire career here. You've covered AJ Preller for damn near almost a decade now. We know that expect the unexpected when it comes to AJ Preller. So really, when you take a step back, should you be surprised by this, Padres fans? Probably not. Because we know, at least we know the name Craig Stammen. The Jace Tingler hire was like, who's Jace Tingler?
Yeah.
At least we know who Craig Stammen is.
You're right. I mean, I guess if I were to push back on the decision, and we'll let it play out. I mean, they might win a lot, they might not. So it'll play out in front of our eyes. But if I were to push back, my argument against doing this, my argument against the decision the organization and AJ Preller did today is staying with the status quo good enough in your pursuit of excellence? And status quo isn't Craig Stammen, but Craig Stammen represents it because he's in the organization and has been for a long time. So it's good, but is it good enough? And that's why I thought Albert Pujols was appealing, because it is unconventional. It was not destined to work, but we'll never know if it would have worked to a larger degree than the decision they just made.
The more we talk about it and the more it digests for me, I don't love it. I don't hate it.
No, I'm the same way.
I'm very neutral on it. I'm very just like, okay.
Which isn't always the best thing to say. It's like if the Padres come out with the City Connect and you're like, oh, it's okay. It's Navy.
Because I know fans want a, like, you either love it or you hate it reaction, right? Like, oh, why do you love it?
Right. Bruce
why do you
Bochy.
hate it, right?
Yeah.
I'm being honest. I just don't feel either way. I don't love it and I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I'm very in the middle. I could see how it could work. I could also see how this could go up in flames.
Completely.
It just to me, I understand it more than anything, why they went this route. But when I saw the news and now digesting it for as long as we have, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm whatever. like let's get the team better first, and the manager hopefully can lead this team. But the roster is more important to me than the manager. And yeah, it's just a very okay.
All right, let's make some money for our listeners on the other side. Chris Hodge gets us ready for Thursday Night Football and this weekend in the NFL and college. We're here until 5:15. And Thursday Night Football tonight, we're reacting to the Padres hire of Craig Stammen. This is John and Jim. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. In a stunner this morning, Padres announced they have hired Craig Stammen, former relief pitcher in the Bigs, as their new manager, signed him to a 3-year deal. In other news with the Padres, to no one's surprise, they picked up Ramon Laureano's $6.5 million club option for the 2026 season. And tonight we have NFL Thursday Night Football on the station. 5:15 is when our coverage begins. Raiders and Broncos. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services to get your packages there safely. Don't forget custom cards, invites, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Staples. That was easy.
All right, great to reconnect with Chris Hodge. Had him on Monday. We'll get back to our Give-a-thon coming up later in the hour, but we do have some free picks coming up for our listeners. It is Thursday night. You can hear this game right here on San Diego Sports 760, Raiders and Broncos. As all of our listeners know by now, Chris Hodge has been terrific. 15-8 this year for our listeners. So that's the show and the text picks. Now, you didn't hit the over on Monday Night Football, but you're still 15-8 with us. And now we've got Thursday Night Football. So, Chris, great to have you back. And tell us about how our listeners can get tonight's Thursday Night Football game.
Yeah, that was an annoying over with that Dallas team. That game saw a lot of opportunities to have some points, but hey, it happens. Let's get back to it tonight. Las Vegas, Denver, same as always. Text the word win to the number 545454. We really can't make this any simpler in 2025. Everyone in the world is text messaging, so you don't have to call anyone. You don't have to talk to anyone. We just send you the text right back. And all you got to do to get the play tonight between Las Vegas and Denver is text the word win to the number 545454.
All right, let's get to this weekend here. Start on Saturday with the college game. Oregon and Iowa. What you got on that one?
You know, it's crazy. I mean, if you look at Oregon, they have the number one pass defense in the country. Iowa is, in terms of metrics, the number 2 overall defense, which is almost like number 1 because Ohio State is so much better than everyone else on defense. So to be number 2 is pretty damn good. And you look at this total. Now, here's what's interesting. Last week, Oregon had its lowest total in God knows when. The total was 44.5 when they played Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is terrible. And so you're figuring, okay, Oregon could score so many points on Wisconsin. That's a low number. And that game stayed below the number by a lot. Final score was 21-7. What did they come back and do to make the total 42.5? Now, I understand it more this time because if you look at both defenses, they average around allowing 13 points a game. Iowa can't throw the ball. That's going to fit right into what Oregon stops because they're a great pass defense. So Iowa's going to have to run the ball, keep the clock moving. And if you look at what Oregon has tried to do this season, they've actually, what we're used to seeing Oregon do with that fast up-tempo offense, they haven't done it this year. They've been more ball control. So I'm thinking 42.5. It's supposed to rain over in Des Moines, Iowa this weekend, and it's supposed to have some wind. So we got some weather. We got 2 great defenses. And I feel like it's going to be an easy, low-scoring game. So we're going to go under 42.5.
Always a safe play when Iowa is involved in a football game. So the under,
you ain't kidding, man.
Oregon,
Always take
and
the under.
I take the under on half, 0.5 points. Not really. Okay, if you want tonight with the Raiders and the Broncos, you can get it absolutely free. Just text the word win, W-I-N, to 545454. You get it free. Text win to 545454. Now, this is a sneaky, really good game, obviously. Steelers-Chargers coming up Sunday from Los Angeles. What do you have in this one?
Well, first of all, I feel like it's going to be a home game for Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Because their fans travel like gnats. I've never seen anything like it with these fans, like the San Francisco 49er fans when they play in SoFi. They're everywhere. So I think that's going to help Pittsburgh, number 1. But here's the issue for this game for the Chargers, all right? Who the hell is blocking TJ Watt? And even you could throw Hayward in there, man. I mean, they got so many injuries on the offensive line. I know they just made a trade from the guy from the Saints, but they just have so many injuries and losing Alt, obviously losing Slater earlier. They had another injury. I think it was Berry. I just don't see how they're going to keep the Pittsburgh Steelers out of their backfield. I really don't. And if they have to max protect, well, that's great in theory. But what does that do? That just keeps one less person out of a pass route, right? Now you can only send 3 or 4 guys out instead of leaking some running backs. So they're going to have to max protect Herbert. And I just think the Steelers, their defense, I know their defense didn't play well against Green Bay a couple of weeks ago, but they did play much better against Indianapolis last week. I think the Steelers do enough. I'm actually going to go with the money line here. We can get them at +3. But I really think they're going to win the game. I just think their defense is going to really give LA a hard time, especially with the injuries. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh +130 on the money line.
So we've talked about this with you before, and that is parlays. What's your thoughts on parlays? And if you could tell our listeners on what you think about them.
I mean, my thought on parlays is the marketers for the sports books are just sitting up in the boardroom laughing their rear ends off that they get people to fall for this. And I know, so gambling isn't legal in California. So you guys don't see all the sports books, and I'm not going to mention the ones that are legal in this country. But if you log on to one of them, what they have is they call it this SGP, which is a same game parlay. And The sports books, I can't even believe this is legal. They tell you what to bet. They give you a 4 or 5 team parlay. Now, that's stupid in and of itself. The fact that people actually listen to it is even dumber. Okay? So they're giving out these 4 and 5 team parlays that you can go bet $10 to $100 on, whatever, that have no shot at winning. The sports books in this country are publicly traded. Okay? The big ones are publicly traded. So that means they have to disclose all of their earnings. They make 85% of their money off of parlays. So the fact that people out there are still falling for this, the easiest, safest way to make money at sports wagering, which is something I've said for years, not just on your station, and you guys could vouch for me on this, single game bets, single game totals, money management system. If you do that, you'll have success. If you want to go bet 4 and 5 team parlays, take the dollar bill, put it in the, you can just burn it, okay? Because you have no shot. You're not going to win. So single game bets are the way to go with a money management system. They're preaching it for years. Until the day they cover me with dirt, I will continue to say that.
You have heard that right here. Our listeners have. If you've been loyal to the station, you've heard that for years. From Chris Hodge at Taking Vegas. Again, if you want tonight, Raiders, Broncos, just text the word win. You get it for free. Text the word win to 545454. That's win to 545454. All right, we're basically at the halfway point in the NFL. How are you feeling about Super Bowl favorites or playoff odds or some of the futures that we're looking at right now in the NFL?
So before the season began, I released on the Sports Investors Daily Radio Show, which you guys are here at, I believe, 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. I released Buffalo to win the Super Bowl. They were 7-1. I obviously, you don't expect anyone to go 17-0 or even 16-1, 15-2, right? But I still like that pick. I still think Buffalo. Look, Buffalo just beat a red hot Kansas City team. Kansas City was playing as well as anyone in the NFL. Buffalo just beat them. Buffalo has the win against Baltimore earlier in the year, which was a miracle, but they won the game. So I'm going to stay with that. But I'm not going to pick them to win the Super Bowl for this exercise that we're doing right now. I'm going to pick them just to win the AFC, and they're plus 300 to win the AFC. So you get them at 3-1. Every $100 risk, you win 300 back. I like this team in the NFC a lot. I think this is a sleeper team. You guys might be talking about them based on the location where you are.
Let me guess. Can I guess?
Please do.
The Rams.
I am impressed with that football team. I think they are the best football team in the NFC. I really do. I think they're so well coached. Obviously, they have a Hall of Fame quarterback. They're playing great on offense, and their defense is getting after it. And you can get them at 4.5 to 1 right now to win the NFC. So I think that's going to be the Super Bowl matchup. Buffalo and the Rams. And it would not shock me if the Rams won the Super Bowl this year. I think the Rams are playing as well. It's hard to repeat. So the Eagles are great, but it's hard to repeat. Listen, Green Bay lost to Cleveland and lost to Carolina. How much can you trust them? Detroit is Detroit. They'll find a way to screw things up. And Sam Darnold. I'm not taking anything away from the young man. He's having a great season, and good for him because he dealt with the Jets, so he deserved it. But I think the Rams are the best team in the NFC.
Well, stay tuned.
And they might have the front runner for the MVP right now, too, with Sam Darnold.
No, Seattle.
Sorry.
You know something? If Sam Darnold wins the MVP, that would just stick it up the rear ends of the New York Jets so much.
Yeah.
Because the Jets can never develop a quarterback, ever. They find these quarterbacks, they screw them up, and they go other places, and they perform well. Look at Geno Smith, and look at Sam Darnold. So I'm rooting for the kid because he got – again, you guys are all the way across the country. This guy got tortured by the New York media. Like tortured. Yeah. If he was your son, you would want to go burn down the houses of the people that are in the New York media. So I'm glad he's performing well up in Seattle. He deserves it.
No doubt about it. Chris, we're looking forward to tonight, Raiders and Broncos. If you want this game, free text pick for tonight. Just text the word WIN, W-I-N, to 545454. Have a great weekend, my friend. Let's do it again next week, all right?
All right. Thanks, guys. You have a great night.
Great stuff. You'll hear Chris Hodge, that Sports Investors Daily Radio Show, his show, coming up Saturday at 8 a.m. on San Diego Sports 760. We'll get back to our give-a-thon on the other side, plus our thoughts on the Padres hiring, again, Craig Stammen to be their next manager. We continue the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station give-a-thon after this on John and Jim. All right, John and Jim back with you here until 5:15. That's when we'll have Thursday Night Football for you. Again, coming up tonight right here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll be joined by another guest from the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon coming up. Just heard that you can donate by calling 619-WARRIOR or by visiting warriorfoundation.org/give-a-thon. So I have a couple of guests actually now. Another one just after the 5 p.m. hour, and then we'll get you ready for, again, Thursday Night Football. Busy local sports day. Craig Stammen, the next manager of the San Diego Padres. We'll hear from him on Monday as the reaction has continued since we learned the news earlier this morning.
Well, we all knew that it was going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Like I said, this week's got to happen.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's still one of those things like, oh, Craig Stammen. Okay. Because we haven't said Craig Stammen's name one time
right
on the radio during this process. But as I said, not upset about it, but also I don't love it. And I know it's the boring answer, but it's because a lot of fans are not happy with it. At least, the fans in our chat, on social media. It doesn't represent the entire fan base, obviously. It's a small portion, but still, the small minority is sometimes the loudest. And I don't view this as a move that's really going to galvanize all Padres fans. Like, yeah, this is it. This is the guy to take us to our first and win our first World Series in franchise history. It's more, I think, like they're going to have to see it to believe it type of thing with Craig Stammen.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we're kind of in the business where news happens and then you react to it and you offer your opinion. And sometimes it's a strong opinion, sometimes it's not. Unfortunately, I can't have a strong opinion here. I voiced 4 weeks on end, I would have hired Albert Pujols. I still feel that way. I think it's aggressive. I think it's bold. I think there's risk associated with it. I think this is conservative. I do not think it's bold. And I do still think there's risk associated with it. So we'll live to see how this plays out. I can't come on the radio today though and just completely kill the hire, because that's not reasonable or fair, because I can't assure you that it's not going to work, just like I can't assure you that it will work. So did it surprise me? Yes. Would I have been more surprised without the Kentucky Sports Radio tweet? Yeah, I would have. Right. The more I learned about Craig Stammen, I have no issue with Craig Stammen. It seems to me like he has some of the qualities of what would make someone a successful manager. Now he has to do that. And the one thing I would say to your point about, hey, we all want to see them win a World Series at some point, is can you do that when you're asked to do it immediately upon becoming a manager? There are examples of first-year managers that have immediate success, and hopefully he's going to be one of them. They need to get deep into the postseason now, not when Manny Machado is 39.
And not only do you need to win now because your window's closing. Like I listened to Joe Musgrove on today with Marty. Fascinating, great interview by her. If you haven't heard it, go check it out, Marty Time TV. It's a pretty interesting interview with Joe. But not only do you need to win now, as your window is closing, which Joe does mention, he's like, our window's closing here. We're not going to be this core group that we have for the next 10 years. Like, it is closing. You have to do all that. And, oh, by the way, overcome the behemoth that is the LA Dodgers, that have just won 2 straight World Series, and they're not slowing down one bit. So, like, you have so much in front of you just internally that you got to get your house in order. And, oh, by the way, you have to go up against a dynasty right now in the Dodgers.
It's a hurdle for Albert Pujols. It's a hurdle for Babe Ruth. I mean, you know what I mean? The manager alone has a hurdle to clear that goes well beyond the manager's chair. Yeah. You're right. You're in a division with the LA Dodgers.
Yeah.
Who have won the World Series.
Unless there's realignment in baseball, which if there was,
could come, but still,
you're still in the same division with the Dodgers, most likely.
You're still looking at a scenario where you have to get through them.
Yep.
All right. Junior Rodriguez is with us right now. We're going to transition back to our Give-a-thon going on right now. Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Give-a-thon. We have Junior Rodriguez with us right now. Junior, we appreciate you taking time for us. Again, we've been telling our listeners about the Give-a-thon throughout the course of the day. You can donate by calling 619-WARRIOR or by visiting warriorfoundation.org/Give-a-thon. Can you tell us a little bit about the role that Warrior Foundation has played in your journey? And thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Greatly appreciate it. Warrior Foundation has played a huge part in my life. I started out as a recovering service member at the hospital. And along that way, I found the Wolfpack wheelchair basketball team after a suicide attempt. And, getting to meet these guys kind of put my life in perspective. And I worked as an intern and worked all my way up to a program director for the Wolfpack.
So for today, tell our listeners just how important it is to donate, to help the cause, and to help send, like people like you home for the holidays. How important is it today, like today?
It's super important. I mean, being in a hospital, there's four walls, and unfortunately sometimes your thoughts get the best of you. You become depressed, you could become sad, you become down, and sometimes those thoughts end up winning. But if you get to go home and be with your family, or if your family comes and sees you, it changes your perspective, it changes your demeanor, it changes your spirit.
I'm glad you went down that path. Junior Rodriguez is with us right now. By the way, this is a matching hour. Okay. So we've just become aware that this is a matching hour up to $10,000. Now is the time to call if you want to support our servicemen and women, get them home for the holidays. To support the matching hour, call 619-WARRIOR. That's 619-927-7467. Again, 619-WARRIOR. Or visit warriorfoundation.org/giveathon. You mentioned some of the mental health challenges obviously associated. What are some of those resources that are available to you at Freedom Station?
We have a lot of resources. My position is the adaptive activities director. So, I take guys paddle boarding, stand-up paddle boarding, wheelchair basketball. I get them into sports, adaptive sports. We have, it's most of us are type A personalities that just like to be outside and need to be doing something. That's why we joined the military. And to find that purpose again and to get us back out there is huge.
Being a part of the Wolfpack, what has that done specifically for you in general?
For me, it kind of puts life in perspective. I have friends that are single leg amputees, double leg amputees, triple amputees, quadruple amputees, missing eyes. And, these guys are going to have struggle the rest of their lives. And, it kind of puts things into, hey, if these guys can do it, if these guys can overcome everything that they're gone through, it makes my issues a little bit easier. It makes me realize, wow, they're a huge inspiration to me in what I do daily.
Junior, if you wouldn't mind sharing for our listeners what it would mean to you, when you have people in the community make a donation to help someone like yourself and others that have given, so much to our country. Like, what does it mean to you if someone makes the call, 619-WARRIOR, or visits warriorfoundation.org/giveathon? Again, it's a matching hour right now. How impactful is that for you?
It's the biggest impact you'll ever know. You have the greatest listeners out here in the country, here in San Diego. You have the greatest, plethora of giving of humans here. And to send us home to help us with our at our darkest times is a great light at the end of that tunnel.
Junior, we appreciate you taking time for our listeners. We really do. And we thank you for your service to our country. And again, for our listeners, now is the time. We've got a matching hour going on right now over the course of the next 5 minutes. So please pick up the phone and call 619-WARRIOR. That's 619-WARRIOR, or visit right now, warriorfoundation.org/giveathon. Again, warriorfoundation.org/giveathon. We appreciate you sharing your perspective and journey with ourselves and with our listeners here today. And again, thank you for your service to our country.
Thanks, Junior.
And thank you for everything you guys do for us. And thank you, San Diego, for being a plethora of giving.
Junior Rodriguez with us here on John and Jim. Some really, really meaningful moments, obviously, here on the radio as the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Giveathon continues. We'll be joined by another serviceman or woman on the other side as we continue our Giveathon. We're here until 5:15. We've got Thursday night football tonight. Raiders and Broncos coming up in about 20 minutes. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
Warrior Foundation and, fellow servicemen like yourself?
It's very important because it helps out other services. Right now, what you guys are doing, raising money to help out those newly injured and junior personnel who would like to go home to where their families would like to see them, because obviously if they're going to recover right now, family wants to see them. Say, hey, how you doing? How you been? 6 months ago, we were fine. Next thing you know, you're in the hospital trying to do recovery because of an illness or injury or some other thing that puts them in the hospital for one reason or the other. Family wants to see them, see how they're doing, and just imagine, having a kid on, halfway across the country. I had no idea how he is until you see him, and the holidays is the perfect time to see him because you can get aunts and uncles and cousins and brothers and sisters, mom, dad, all in the same space, same area to see how that service member is doing.
Hector Varela is with us right now. Again, our Give-a-thon is going on. You can make a donation, get some heroes home for the holidays by calling 619-WARRIOR or by visiting warriorfoundation.org/Give-a-thon. Hector, for our listeners that aren't fully aware, what role does Freedom Station play? Like, what are some of the resources for those that are there, including yourself?
So they provide a lot of resources. I mean, one of them is like, obviously, we mentioned about the wheelchair basketball team. So they help out with the funding on that because our transportation, flights aren't free and they're not cheap. So they help out with that. We have service members who are actually going to trying out for the Paralympic teams. They help with their supporting them, try to achieve that goal, try to get that gold medal at the Paralympics, which I believe the next Paralympics is in LA in 2 years, right?
Right. That's exactly right.
So that's the goal, to try and get in there, and again, wear the red, white, and blue as they're competing to win that goal.
For people out there that maybe, I'm not gonna say on the fence about maybe donating or helping out today, what would you tell those people on, why it is so important and how much a difference it does make in people's lives?
Well, I would probably tell them is put yourself in their shoes. Mom, dad, half Midwest, East Coast. Your son, your daughter is here in California. You know that they're then going through recovery for one reason or the other, and you want to see how they're doing. You want them home for the holidays, and if they can't afford to go out there, obviously that's what this is for, to help them purchase that ticket, to get them home to mom and dad, to see how that young sailor, Marine, airman, soldier is doing. Again, home for a couple of days, maybe a week or two. So they can feel better about that family that their service member is actually doing well, going through recovery, instead of being laying on bed and just having thoughts on how they're doing, that they can actually physically see them.
You can support our local military members, our heroes, again, by donating right now. You can call 619-WARRIOR. That's 619-927-7467. 619-WARRIOR, or visiting warriorfoundation.org/Give-a-thon. Hector, we appreciate you taking time for us. Thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for sharing your story, and be well this holiday season.
Thank you for having me.
Hector Varela, again, with us right now. I'm John and Jim. Again, we talk about Craig Stammen as if it matters.
It really doesn't.
Come on.
It doesn't matter.
And you've heard me say this a lot, Jim. I'm sure some of our listeners have heard me. The reason I always love sports is it's an escape, right? Because there's way more important things. Way, way, way. Now, I pretend like this is important, Craig Stammen, because I think it's important. And it is important for a lot of our listeners. But it's not defending the freedoms of Americans.
Nope.
Important.
No.
Right? Without the Hectors, we're not worried about the managerial hire, right?
Exactly.
Without our freedoms. So make the donation, pick up the phone and call 619-WARRIOR, 619-WARRIOR, or warriorfoundation.org/Give-a-thon.
Yeah. And I went to the Freedom Station.
Yeah, you were there recently, right? At some point last year.
I think it was Freedom Station 2.
Yeah.
And that's in South Park, like right down the street from where I used to live in my garage.
Yes, yeah.
And it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great location. 2, it has everything that you need, and it sets everybody that is a serviceman or woman that is in need here for success. It's a great thing to donate to. Again, we have our Rady's Children's Give-a-thon coming up here next month. And what I always say during that is, if you're looking for something during the holiday season, because we are entering the holiday season, to attach yourself to or to help donate to, because a lot of people out there want to donate. They just don't know what to donate to. They don't know where to donate. I'm telling you right now, Warrior Foundation, that is something that is absolutely worth it. Again, the number 619-927-7467, or you can visit warriorfoundation.org/giveathon. It's, to help out servicemen and women and help change their lives. There's nothing better that you could do out there during the holiday season.
Yeah, and again, like to the point of Hector, and we've tried to illustrate maybe over the last couple of hours, I don't know if we've done a good job or not, is you're talking about bringing people home for the holidays to be with family. Like, come on. There's nothing better than that. Like the chip in, whether it's $10 or $50 to help get servicemen and women in this amazing city where obviously the military has played such a monumental role in the history of San Diego and in the history of this country. Again, if you have the means to support, we ask that you consider doing so by calling 619-WARRIOR, 619-927-7467, or visiting warriorfoundation.org/giveathon. Raiders Broncos coming up in a few minutes. Padres have made it officially official. Craig Stammen will be introduced to the media on Monday at 10 a.m. and a whole nother era of Padres baseball begins. There have been a lot of eras in the last decade, and we're going to have it's almost sort of another one.
It's almost like every 2 years there's a new era with the Padres.
And dude, you saw yesterday, we kind of joked on it, the spring training schedule, they have a game like February 19th. I mean, it's going to be here in a blink of an eye. We'll get through the holidays and spring training will be underway, and winter meetings are a couple of weeks away, and it's all, 2026 will be here before we know it.
One point that Joe Musgrove made with Marty today on her YouTube channel that I thought is a good point as to maybe why they went down the path of Craig Stammen is the right guy over, say, Albert Pujols, is what is happening here in February, the WBC. What do you not want to have? You do not want to have a situation where this team with a new manager is all split up. Now, they're going to inevitably be split up because there are guys on the WBC team. But
Yep.
What would Albert Pujols do? What would the coaching staff do? It's a new name. It's a new guy. If they brought in Albert Pujols, completely outside the organization, he needs to learn everything that they do as an organization. He needs to learn all the players, learn their habits, everything. That's something that Craig Stammen doesn't need to do because he already knows it. And I do think because of that, it may have played a role into, all right, who's the best guy that could get things going from the jump that doesn't need to have like an introductory process where he needs to learn these guys and learn the system and to learn the organization and to learn who is in the Craig knows everybody in the organization. Craig knows everybody. So it's not like, oh, that's a new face in town. Like he's got to learn this name. He's got to learn this name. Craig knows it all.
Right. Yeah, you're not skipping a beat. I buy that. I think it has value. I wouldn't hire someone just because of that. Not just because. It is a factor. And by the way, I wouldn't not hire Albert Pujols because of his current role as a manager in the WBC, because I would assume if you became a manager in the major leagues, you would give up your role as managing the WBC.
I don't think that's the only reason why they hired Craig Stammen is because of what I just said.
No, but I'm just feathering his cap.
I'm just saying, like, hey, it's a part of the pros and cons to start off your managerial career.
Again, it goes back to our initial point. It's like, I don't have an issue with it, but I also don't not have an issue with it, if that makes sense. The worst thing you can ever say sometimes is like, hey, look, there's a brand new team and look at their new name and logo. And you're like, oh, that's fine.
Right.
You're not saying I love it. You're not saying I hate it. Now, this is different. This isn't a logo.
People want
they
want
reaction. You want to be able to react to something. And I think a lot of the reaction today is like, really? Oh, okay. And there's nothing really more to it beyond that.
I can tell you this though. If this thing does backfire and go up in flames, I also wouldn't be surprised.
And I also, at that point, you probably have a full regime change with the organization.
Absolutely.
At some point, that will come. You can't be a general manager for 20 years and not reach a World Series. But we're not yet at that point. Full coverage of this in the wrap-up show tonight. Find us on YouTube. Search for the Padres wrap-up show. We've got Thursday Night Football coming up next. Broncos and Raiders to kick off the weekend of NFL action. For Brent and Jim. I'm John. Keep it here. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.